Hello children, welcome to Geography class. In this class, we will learn about soil erosion, various agents of soil erosion, causes of soil erosion, regions of soil erosion, preventions, soil conservation, and soil conservation schemes. Generally, there is a balance between the soil forming process and the erosional process. If the balance is disturbed by the natural or human factors, there is a great rate of removal of soil and the entire soil layer may be removed in a few years. Soil erosion is the removal of the top soil cover by various agents of weathering such as water, wind, and human activities. The prime factor of soil erosion is running water. Indirectly, soil erosion helps in soil forming because from wherever the soil is removed, it is deposited elsewhere. However, it disturbs the agriculture pattern and should be prevented. There are several ways in which soil erosion takes place due to running water. First one is sheet erosion. It occurs on gentle slopes and it is the slow removal of a thin layer of soil when vegetation is destroyed. Rainwater washes away the thin layer of the bare soils. Sheet erosion is harmful since it removes the finer and the more fertile topsoil. The second way of erosion by water is rill erosion. This is the second stage of sheet erosion. When the sheet erosion continues for long, the silt-laden runoff forms many finger-shaped rills or grooves over a large area. Eventually, the fine rills increases in number, deepens and widens. This reduces the actual area under cultivation. It is the intermediate stage between sheet erosion and gully erosion. Third type of erosion by water is gully erosion. During heavy downpour, deep gullies are made on bare soils on account of water runoff. Gully erosion removes nutrients and heavy load of loose soils, making the soil unproductive. Gullies cut up agricultural land and make it unfit for cultivation. It makes water very muddy. This is seen in the Chambal Valley region. Next type of erosion by water is leaching. After harvesting, farmers leave the soils bare for some time. During the rainfall, the nutrients in the soil are leached or percolated below the top layer, thus leaving the top soil infertile. This is also called as desilication. Next type of erosion by water is sea or shore erosion. The tidal water of sea causes considerable damage to the soil along the coast. The powerful waves dash against the coast and break hanging cliff rocks. The broken material is then removed by the retreating sea waves. This type of sea erosion is seen throughout the eastern and western coast of India. Next is stream bank erosion. Streams and rivers change their courses by cutting one bank and depositing the silt loads on the other. The continuously flowing water erodes the banks of streams and rivers. Gradually, the bed of the river widens. During flash floods, the damage is accelerated. Stream bank erosion is prevalent in the floodplains of Ganga, Yamuna, and other rivers. As a result of stream bank erosion, large areas of agricultural land in the states of Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan have been transformed into ravines. Now let us understand how soil erosion is caused due to human action. As the human population increases, the demand on the land also increases. Forest and other natural vegetation is removed for human settlement, for cultivation, for animal grazing, and for many other purposes. The loss of vegetation cover leads to sheet erosion on the hilly slopes. because water, instead of sinking into the ground, washes the soil down. In the second stage, in the absence of vegetation cover and washing off of the absorbent topsoil, rills begin to appear on the landscape. In the third stage, the water runoff during heavy rains may develop deep grooves causing gully erosion. Next is deforestation. The outer Himalayas, that is the Shivaliks, the western and the eastern Ghats, are subjected to deforestation by man. These areas also receive heavy monsoon rains. The removal of vegetation cover for different land use like railway lines, roads, buildings, or even agriculture has caused sheet, rill, and gully erosion. In these areas, local population practice shifting cultivation. The heavy rains then wash away the bare soil from the slopes to the valleys below. Next is grazing. Another important cause of sheet, rill, and gully erosion is uncontrolled grazing of domestic animals in the valley and the upper slopes. Overgrazing of land by animals result in removal of grass over a large area, resulting in the erosion of soil. Now let's see how erosion is caused by wind. Wind erosion refers to the movement and the deposition of soil particles by wind. It occurs when soil devoid of vegetation is exposed to high velocity wind. Wind moves soil particles of 0.1 to 0.5 mm in size in bouncing or hopping fashion, and they are known as saltation, and those greater than 0.5 mm by rolling fashion. They are known as soil creep. The particles less than 0.1 mm are the finest particles detached into suspension. In fact, wind erosion is most visible in the suspension stage as dust storms. Wind erosion reduces the productivity of the soil, as most of the nutrients required by the plants are carried away by the winds. Following are the causes of soil erosion. Heavy population pressure on land. The population continues to rise at a rapid rate. More forests are being destroyed to house and feed the increasing population. The heavy pressure on land is the main cause of soil erosion. Nature of rainfall. India receives 80 to 90% of rainfall in the monsoon season. Heavy downpour during monsoon months causes floods. In the remaining months, droughts are frequent. This affects the soil. Overgrazing. Overgrazing by cattle has resulted in the exposure of the topsoil to the elements of denudation. Bad farming techniques. The poor farmers plough fields in the traditional ways. The farming techniques and small size of holding lead to soil erosion on large scale. Topography. Northeastern parts of India, Shivaliks, and the hilly region in South India are affected by soil erosion because of steep slopes and heavy rainfall. Deforestation. Forests are destroyed so that more land can be used for cultivation. Cutting of trees expose the soil to water and wind, which leads to soil erosion. In India, soil erosion is one of the great enemies of Indian agriculture. The worst affected areas are the region of Chambal and Yamuna, the western Himalayas, the Chota Nagpur region, Tapi Sabarmati Valley region, Regur soil of Maharashtra, and the dry areas of Rajasthan, Gujarat, and Haryana. We can possibly save our valuable soil by following certain changes in our agricultural practices. Some of the preventive measures are as under: terrace farming, shelter belts, contour ploughing, strip cropping, construction of dams, plugging gullies, and planting trees. First is terrace farming. Terracing along the mountain slopes is one of the oldest methods of soil conservation along the hill slopes. Terrace acts as a bunch and prevent the soil from being washed away by the running water. Terrace farming is practiced with successful results in Japan, Southeast Asia, and the USA. Next is shelter belts. Farmers plant trees in several rows to check wind erosion. They are known as windbreaks. Contour plowing. Plowing along contours on a slope prevents soil being washed away by rainwater or by surface runoff. Contours act like bunds. Terraces are leveled into step-like small fields with even slopes. Contour plowing is common in Japan, China, and some Southeast Asian countries. Strip cropping. Crops are grown in alternative strips of land to check the impact of the winds. Construction of dams. Rivers cause soil erosion. Dams are built in the upper course of the rivers to control soil erosion. Plugging of gullies. The gullies made in the soil are plugged with deposition of silt during heavy rains. Trees. The trees, like in the case of shelter belts, are planted along the edges of the fields, the wastelands and on steep slopes to prevent soil erosion as well as to enhance the capacity of the soil to retain water. Soil is our most valuable asset, and no other gift of nature is so important for human life as soil. Soil conservation means prevention of soil loss from erosion or prevention of reduced fertility of soil caused by overusage, acidification, salinization, or other types of soil contamination. There is an acute need to prevent soil erosion because of its adverse effect, which includes the following: loss of agricultural productivity. Loss of fertile topsoil leads to loss of agricultural productivity. Loss of mineral nutrients. Floods and leaching of soil causes loss of mineral nutrients. Lowering of underground water table. Soil erosion lowers the underground water table and thus decreases the soil moisture. Dries up arid and semi-arid lands. The natural vegetation cover dries up and expansion of arid and semi-arid lands. Adverse effect on economic prosperity and cultural development. Silt of river and the canal beds, reoccurrence of the landslide, etc. has adverse impact on the economic prosperity and the cultural development of any country. Soil conservation schemes. In India, from the very first 5-year plan, soil conservation measures were launched, and they are as follows. Integrated watershed management. This scheme was launched by the Centre during the 6th plan, aims at enhancing the ability of the catchments of 8 flood-prone rivers of the Gangetic Basin covering 7 states and 1 union territories. Reclamation and development of ravine areas. In 1987-88, Madhya Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh and Rajasthan and later Gujarat adopted this program. This program involves peripheral bunding to halt further ingress of ravines, afforestation of ravines to meet fuel and fodder requirements, and reclamation of shallow ravines. Control of shifting agriculture or cultivation. Since 1994-95, the states of Arunachal Pradesh, Assam, Manipur, Meghalaya, Mizoram, Nagaland and Tripura have adopted the integrated program for settling of families practicing shifting cultivation. It helps them to practice terraced cultivation, to raise horticulture plantation, to support animal husbandry and to meet fuel and fodder requirements. National Project and Development and Use of biofertilizers and National Project on Quality Control encourages the use of biofertilizers as well as balanced and integrated use of fertilizers. Rainwater harvesting. In urban areas, rainwater harvesting is a means of checking soil erosion beside recharging groundwater. Let's wind up today's class. If you have any doubt, feel free to ask. Thank you.